This is level 2 on ratios, so this is the very basic ratios, things that you need to be able to answer. It's not difficult. It's pretty straightforward. We're going to have a look at just a couple of different things that could come up. Okay, so we're going to look at writing ratios first, making sure that they're simplified. Excuse me. So let's look at the first example. In a group of students, 12 prefer reading and 16 prefer watching movies. What is the ratio of students who prefer movies to reading, and simplify if possible? Okay, I've set this up like this deliberately because it might confuse people. Because what I'm expecting here is people are going to write down that the ratio is 12 to 16. And then simplify that to get my eraser, simplify that to 3 is to 4. That's actually wrong. The reason it's wrong is because it asks you for the ratio of students who prefer movies, so that number must go first. Movies to reading. So the number of students who prefer movies is 16, reading 12. So the ratio is 4 is to 3. So then it asks you, what fraction of the class prefer reading? Well, how many people are in the class? The class is 16 plus 12, which is 28 people in total. Okay, what fraction prefer reading? Well, 12 out of 28. Okay, it's not 12 out of 16, that's the ratio. And that simplifies to 3/7. So 3/7 of the class prefer reading, which means the remaining 4/7 prefer movies. Another one. So that's the basic idea of how you construct a ratio and how you construct the fraction then. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, the next one. Scale of a map is 1 centimeter to 50 meters. Write the ratio of the map distance to real distance. Well, map distance 1 centimeter. 1 centimeter. And real distance 50 meters. Now if you look, I've left the units in 1 centimeter, 50 meters, because if I just write 1 to 50, we will assume that that's 1 centimeter to 50 centimeters, or 1 meter to 50 meters. We would assume that it's the same unit. Okay, so we have to write in the unit just to make sure that we recognize it's 1 centimeter to 50 meters. Okay? Now, if we put them in the same unit, we don't have to write the unit then. That's the difference. So for example, if I write both of them in centimeters, I would have 1 centimeter, 50 meters. Well, there's 100 centimeters in a meter, so 50 times 100 centimeters. So it's 1 to 5,000. Now you'll see, because this is centimeters and this is also centimeters, we don't need to write the unit. We only need to write the unit if the units that we're using are different. Okay? And the last one. This is where there's fractions involved. This might look more difficult than it does, but we'll see. So, the recipe to make a cake calls for half a cup of flour for every 2 7 cups of sugar. Write a whole number ratio for the number of cups of flour to the number of sugar. Okay, so flour, the ratio, if you just write it as we see it, it's a half. Sorry, I'm going to write that in blue, just to erase that. So the ratio is 1/2. Doing it again. 1/2 flour to 2 7 sugar. In this case, what I have to do, I have to put them I have to write them as equivalent fractions with the same denominator. So we could write the two of them as 14ths, right? 2 times 7 is 14. So I could write it as 7 14ths, 4 14ths. And then, when you have them with the same denominator, you can just cross out the bottom. So the ratio is 7 to 4. Okay? That's how you deal when you have fractions. It's pretty straightforward. I think it's pretty easy. So that's it. Let's have a look at the worksheet that's up on Moodle.